really like the feeling. I like it. It feels very human yet again. It almost reminded me of some of the zones Cinematic Orchestra got to the other night, where it's very clearly a performance. I feel that from the drums. It's a very nice feeling. And the touch, it's a really nice touch. And I forget his name, the drummer who was playing the other night, but that was a specific compliment I made a point to give him, that there was great energy, but a really nice touch. And I think the instrument responds, particularly the cymbals, the way the cymbals speak in the mix. It's not hitting so hard. And I think that gives a nice human thing and a little more air to the performance. But I don't know who it is.
But there's a lot of electronics in there too.
Absolutely, yeah. And that intro, yeah, it sounds modern. The feeling is, fairly modern. It has that the busier double feeling with the wide halftime backbeat, which is more and more used, I think. I feel like it's British, but that's unfair to say.
Does anybody in the audience know who that is? It's a Belgian group.
Oh.
Yeah. They performed here last year at Jazz Middelheim.
Nice.
And I'm featuring the drummer, who's much covered in the Belgian press, Lander Gijsselink, and who's a phenom of sorts here in Belgium. And is a great guy. I've actually talked with him, interviewed him. Really, really nice guy, down to earth. And playing in a wide variety of styles and contexts, much like yourself. And I think he's 12 now, or is it? He's like in his early 20s.
Cool.
But he's young, and coming up. And the name of the group, of course, there is that other group that Steve Gadd was known for.
Yeah, that wasn't Steve
70s.
Gadd. And I can tell you that.
That was not Steve Gadd.
Cool.
But there's a famous New York studio band, or a band that was put together by studio cats, called Stuff, very famously in the States. And I think very wisely this group has decided to put a period at the end of their name, so we can differentiate. But I had to get Belgium in there.
Very cool. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things for me, obviously, is that coming over here and seeing Herbie or Wayne or Joshua Redmond or whatever, I can do that in New York. Mm-hmm. But what I can't do in New York is discovering, the talent that's out here in Europe.
But you can't watch them in front of a castle. You can't do that in New York.
No, you can't do that in New York. Or an Italian piazza. Mm-hmm. But, have you noticed that when you come over here, you're hearing sounds and approaches that are not American?
Definitely. In a good way.
Okay, on to number 6.
say?
What are you hearing? What's standing out for you?
Incredible interaction, incredible open spirit. I love how the melody's being played a lot. It's not just get the melody out of the way and start improvising. Yeah, it feels really present, and in the moment the drummer's taking some beautiful liberties and chances and shaping the music. Yeah, it's hard to say. It feels, so I heard the applause, so I know it's live, and that makes sense. That energy has this very live feeling to it. But yeah, I can't even guess. Great.
Yeah. Would you say that the piano player and the drummer know each other well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's the key to this recording. It's Robert Hurst's project, the bassist Robert Hurst, but it's Chris Dave and
nice.
Robert Glasper.
I stand by my comments.
Yeah.
Incredibly interactive and present. He's one of the great risk takers of today. In my opinion, musical risk takers. And I've heard him play very little in this style, in a contemporary jazz style, but his personality, his choices, it's less about what he's playing and more about where and why that set him apart. So this is really cool. So when's this from?
This is
Late,
from
early 2000s or something?
Yeah, 2010.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And the first album had Damien on it, and the Volume 1. Volume 2 was with Chris.
Beautiful.
I curveballed you here.
Yeah, it's tricky.
And I hope that's okay.
Of course. I'm a big fan.
What else about Chris would you like to say before we move on? He's kind of moving in the direction of just production.
Yeah, I think this performance embodies what I love about him, which is that fearlessness. In this context, there's less room for the feeling that he can bring to certain styles. When he's playing more beats, but still, his phrasing is really unique and really progressive, because in some ways it's like, if you heard that from a distance, it's like, oh, it's Keith Jarrett Trio playing a standard or something. It's very much rooted in that, but the details of it, the individual decisions, are quite modern and specific to these guys. Yeah, and Robert's incredible.
And of course, Chris, as far as what he's had as far as bringing in the that stuttering effect and the breakbeat kind of feel that comes more out of electronica.
Exactly.
Is what he's now known for.
Yep.
So,
yeah, and
hence the curveball.
Yep, and exactly. Thank you. But I think it's important to note, as a side note, that I think this gets confused sometimes. Is a lot of those choices that he makes, where he's emulating this music, is just that. It's an emulation of a sound he's heard in a different environment, and it's not a thing to do on the drums, or like, hey, let me think of. It's not coming from the drummer mind, which I think is important, very, very important. He had to explore his own creativity to discover how to achieve these things on the drum set. But and it's important for people who look to Chris as an influence to try to remember that and not just see it as some cool drum stuff, but it has a much deeper origin. And I think when you understand where he's getting it from, you can understand how to use it better yourself, or in a more organic way.
Fantastic. All right, number 7. This is the live section.
Yep. Jojo Mayer Nerd. Wow, yeah.
Jojo Meyer. That was immediate.
I've listened to see Jojo.
You know you're Jojo.
Special props to John Davis on bass, who is really multi-talented. He's the co-owner of a studio in Brooklyn called The Bunker, and that's where I've recorded my last few recordings with John engineering.
I need to hear you playing out with John. Please. What's interesting about this album, this is live in Europe, and it's from 2014. It's a tune called 7, with the digit 7, E-V-E-N. And, well, what would you like to say about Jojo's approach first?
Well, for me,
why did you hear him immediately?
Because I know this song. But the reason, why do I know this song? Well, it's because he's been a hero of mine. He was the first guy that I saw emulating electronic music live on an acoustic drum set. And for me, he coupled with Zach Danziger, another incredible New York drummer, the two of them going out and seeing them, playing this stuff live, gave me the courage to follow that path as well, or at least explore that territory. Because before...
Were you there already as far as taste goes?
Yeah, so before I saw them, before I was in the same room as them playing this stuff, I was checking out a lot of electronic music, but I couldn't build a bridge between that sound and acoustic instruments. So it was guys like Jojo who provided like clear evidence of how it can be done. And he's just, aside from the stylistically, he's a master of the instrument. He's really, he has and continues to achieve really incredible things as a drummer. And being in New York, he's a very present New York resident. He's around, and you'll see him not only playing, but at a lot of people's shows, checking out music. So I met him years ago, and he's always been very kind to me, and we've become friends, and I'm very grateful. I took one lesson with him in maybe 2004, and I was just the guy in the front row of every show, for many years. And like I said, he's been very generous, and that's not always the case. I didn't expect to become his friend when I met him, but it's because of the person that he is that happened. So yeah, he's a special musician.
Fantastic. Number 8. If you're just getting here, you just came in, we're doing a before and after blindfold test with Mark Giuliana, this year's resident artist here at the festival. And even though the word test is in the title, it's not a test. It's hearing how Mark listens to music. I'm playing him music that is generally in his kind of area of expertise, but also a little bit outside of it too. And just hearing how a musician's ears work, what he hears, how he hears it, how he processes it, and then if he is able to identify it, that too. But it's always valuable to me, having been in the music world for so long, to listen how musicians listen. So that's what we're doing. And we're on to number 8.
How's everybody doing, okay?
Thank you.
Cool.
I know this is much more sort of being there and witnessing it,
Yeah.
and I want to acknowledge your presence and spirit for participating in it. Thank you so much for being here.
Holding me accountable.
Number 8.
Particularly challenging because the drummer didn't play any cymbals, and that's quite often a help in identifying who it might be. So this is an extra curveball. Maybe he didn't even have any cymbals. But yeah, this is tricky because the piano player is playing in a way that I don't recognize, with such great force and intensity. And the bowing of the bass, it's a sound that I really like, but I can't identify it.
Can you identify the tune? Did you pick
No.
up on that?
No.
Did anybody pick up on the tune? It's actually a Stevie Wonder tune,
Oh,
off the Talking Book album
okay.
called Big Brother.
Cool.
You want to hear a little bit more?
Sure.
Anything else you'd like to say about him?
No, it's no.
This is
wow.
Vijay Iyer and his trio with Stephen Crump. And when that trio first got together, it was 2009. And of course, what they've done since then, and now they're recording for ECM, major influence on how people are thinking about the piano trio today.
Mm-hmm. When's this one from?
2009.
Okay, so Marcus was 12.
Right,
Say, yeah.
right. Marcus was, yeah.
As you said before.
And
yeah, that for me is was tricky because he was playing a beat, you know, and he's really one of my favorite drummers, for sure. Yeah, Vijay, it crossed my mind. The bowing, that, you know, I can't claim that would have been my guess, but the bowing, I know, you know, he can go there quite often, especially in this context. So now it makes sense. But to me, it felt more intense than when I imagined Vijay. It was pretty rocking, you know, which of course he can go there. But yeah, with Marcus in particular, it was tough to hear the specific personality in such a disciplined part, you know. But I think he's one of the masters now, you know. Yeah, every time I hear him or see him, I feel like he's leading the way in many ways, and has been for a while now.
And he's also exploring electronics and programming along with the live kit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have you caught him when he's been doing
not yet, just online, just trying to see stuff. But yeah, he is one of the quote-unquote younger guys that I try to keep an eye on, for sure.
And lineage, of course.
Yeah.
Carrying a lot of history there. Marcus Gilmore being the grandson of Roy Haynes. Most recently I saw him with Chick Corea. You know, it's the Blue Note, playing electronics along with drums.
Oh, great.
You know. All right,
Incredible.
number 9. See if we can get 2 more in before we have to run over to the other stage.
Him or not, it reminds me of Square Pusher. Okay, so
That's exactly what it
you know,
is.
the top, the nuts and bolts of it, for me, the beats and the bass felt like him, but the top is particularly kind of sentimental, which he isn't always a place he goes to, especially the way it started was quite, how would you say it? You know, gentle, yeah, and beautiful. And even this guitar at on the top of this still keeps it in a it's almost
Like a flamenco guitar.
awkwardly romantic in some ways.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. On a good day. So yeah, also the now at the beginning and also now it's purely like drum machine sounds, and as I got into it, it was his more characteristic broken beat stuff where it's taking loops and cutting them up. Yeah, for me, he's as much a hero as Tony Williams is for me, and similarly, the way Tony kicked the door open to this world of improvising and jazz, that Square Pusher did that for me with electronic music, and that was in. So is this 97?
96.
96.
96.
Okay,
but
so
it came out in the States in 97, actually.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, a friend of mine in college in 2000 gave me the record called Feed Me Weird Things, which I think is 96. And when I heard that, we could just cut and paste what I said about Tony, because I had no idea what it was. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't understand it, but it created this feeling in my body that I knew was special, and I really wanted to learn more about it. And what's really cool, a little side note, is he's now touring with a live group called Showbelieter 1, where he's playing Square Pusher repertoire, but because he's a bass player. And
he being Tom Jenkinson.
Exactly, Tom Jenkinson,
aka Square Pusher.
and he so now it's bass, guitar, keyboards, and drums. And I've become friends with the drummer. His name is Adam Betts, and he's around my age. He lives in London, and wow, he's playing this stuff. He's playing it live, and it's really inspiring. And again, it's just amazing to see someone capturing this spirit in a performance space. And yeah, Square Pusher is at the top of the mountain for me, for sure.
That's great. Well, thanks for sharing that, and thanks for sharing your insight on all the music you can ever play. Unfortunately, and this is the saddest responsibility I have at every one of these events, is I got to call it off at a certain point, and allow Mark to get ready to leave this seat and get behind the drum kit on the other stage, where he'll be performing within about 10 minutes. So we're going to let you go now. I still have some tracks. I might try and track you down.
Definitely.
And,
Let's do it
for you. But this, again, is what's called a before and after blindfold test. It'll be in Jazztaks magazine in a few months. We'll be crediting each and every one of you. I'm going to make sure I get every one of your names, put it in the article too. Guys, my name is Ashley Kahn. It's been my honor the past 4 days to be hosting the talk events here at Jazz Middelheim. I want to thank Bertrand Flamand, Davey, Kevin, everyone who makes this tent possible, especially David and Jonas here on the tech side. And thank you all for your attendance, spirit, and for being here. Thank you all. See you next year.
He's got a camera too. All right, so yeah, I'm around.
You need to be in it.
And we could just do it headphones in the back or something.
Okay.
Have a good hit. Thank you.
Yeah.
You feeling good about that?
Yeah. Once we get going.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Catch you later.
Excuse me, can I put this interview on Periscope? Okay, social media.
No.
No?
No.
Okay,
because,
private.
it's it's been put together by the magazine, so they have the exclusive on it.
Ça va, je comprends. No
Yeah,
problems.
thank you. I wish you would come yesterday and done the Thelonious Monk interview.
Of course.
Ah, yes, I was not here.
Thelonious Monk conversation. I wish it had been in there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But thank you for asking first.
Yes, always
I
ask.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
It's from my personal library.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the announcement of these talks this year was kind of late.
I know.
Too bad.
It takes a little bit of pushing.
Yeah. I got a feeling. Thanks for doing it again, though.